Perfect. I am here for it too. Let's talk more about the original owner of the White House property, David Davy Burns. Now, he was born in 1739 in Prince George's County, Maryland, to James Burns and Jemima Brown, also both American born. His grandfather, who was also named David Burns, was a Scottish immigrant. Now, Davy Burns passed away in 1799, 1 year prior to the completion of the original structure of the White House. Davy Burns was what we would call the true American. He fought in the French and Indian War and later in the Revolutionary War, and he was primarily a farmer, but he also served as a magistrate, a justice of the peace, and an overseer of highways. And he owned roughly 350 acres of farmland, including a tobacco plantation. This tobacco plantation bordered Tiber Creek, and this is the area that became the epicenter of downtown Washington, D.C. And like many others in the 1700s, Burns enslaved at least a dozen people at his tobacco plantation. And I think that's probably a conservative number. Now, he was meeting with George Washington, and he was very resistant of selling his land to the federal government. So George Washington himself referred to Davy Burns as the obstinate Mr. Burns in a letter to Thomas Jefferson. So Burns' daughter, Marcia Burns Van Ness, she ended up marrying someone very prominent. She married, who is he? One second. Now, Davy Burns died in 1799. And upon his death, because the White House was not completed yet, his daughter, Marcia Burns, at the time, Marcia Burns Van Ness, inherited the entire estate that the Capitol was going to be built on. Now, she married John Peter Van Ness, who was a very prominent figure in early Washington, D.C. society. So Marcia Burns Van Ness was referred to as the heiress of Washington City because she inherited approximately 700 acres of her father's farmland, which included the future site of the White House, parts of the National Mall, and land near the Potomac River. If you like this type of content, hit all the buttons and make sure you subscribe to The Den, the Dark Entertainment Network. That is my podcast. The YouTube link is in the bio. I've got the haunted history of Hollywood, and Hollywood and DC are besties.